Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to our March episode of ARIVE Tenacity Talks. In this podcast series, I sat down with industry leaders and business legends and try to uncover stories behind their success and strategies they have for their growth. Hopefully, these insights can help you scale and grow your business or elevate your professional career. Today, I'm really excited to have with me an industry stalwart and a true powerhouse in mortgage banking sector. Doug Jones, President and Chief Mortgage Banking Officer at PennyMac, is joining us today. PennyMac comprises of PennyMac Financial Services, which is traded on New York Stock Exchange as PFSI, and PennyMac Mortgage Investment Trust, which also trades on NYSE as PMT. Under Doug's leadership, PennyMac has become one of the top lenders in the nation and has assisted more than 4 million consumers achieve and sustain their dream of home ownership. Doug joined PennyMac in an executive leadership role in 2011 as their Chief Correspondent Lending Officer. He was appointed as the president in 2021. And since 2017, he has also served as their Chief Mortgage Banking Officer. In March 2023, he was appointed to the board of PFSI and PMT. And before PennyMac, he has held many executive and leadership roles at Countrywide Home Loans and later on its successor, Bank of America. So Doug, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today. A very warm welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. Very kind introduction, and super excited to talk with you today. You know, we love our industry. We love our people, our customers, our business partners. And so, really looking forward to a fantastic half hour with you.
So before we dive in, I want to give a big shout out to PennyMac PPO for being an awesome ARIVE partner for about 20 months. We absolutely enjoy working with Kim Nichols and her team and are committed to helping each other grow. Today, we picked a topic which even I'm very passionate about, that how can we look at challenges, obstacles, hurdles in our professional life and convert them into opportunities for sustainable growth. You've had a multi-decade career in this industry. You have seen every market cycle, every policy change, changes in consumer expectation, changes in competition. So what are some of the key lessons you can share with our audience where you faced many tough challenges, but then converted them to growth opportunities?
Well, yeah, you're spot on. It's it's a very dynamic industry. You have political events, interest rate cycles, credit cycles, and so you've got a lot of at times moving parts. And I think one of the keys to me is that really you got to run. If you got to kind of run two things at one time. You got to run what I'm going to call the moment, the week, the day, the month, because you've got, your people, you've got your customer base, you got to get loans closed, you got to service loans, and so you've got really the current platform that you've got to execute as perfectly as possible every minute, every day in the short term. I think one of the biggest things I've learned over time is that you also have to keep a perspective that what do we need to be 6, 12, 18, 24 months out? And, you've got to keep some balance in there. It's so easy to get just completely engulfed by the moment because that's where rightfully so, the referral source, the customer, someone's upset. We all still have these things called humans, and humans aren't perfect, and they make some mistakes, unfortunately. And my wife reminds me that of every day, so I realize I'm still human. Maybe someday I can AI myself, and she'll like me more. I don't know, but
Okay.
I think that's part of the big issue is, again, focusing on the moment, getting the great customer execution, whether it's a consumer, a business partner, et cetera, but then making sure how you see the market 6, 12, 18, 24 months out. You've got to have energy on that. And so you're really running kind of two structures at one time.
Yeah, absolutely. So you absolutely said it right. Like you should execute flawlessly, but you should also have a longer term game plan in mind as you operate day to day. So in
Correct.
terms of, you kind of hinted at that, in terms of challenges, let's talk about market challenges or something you cannot control. Mortgage markets have been pretty rough over the last few years, and they're expected to be tight for the remainder of this year as well. So if you were directly talking to mortgage brokers or loan officer, what words of wisdom or what advice you can give them so they don't see these tough market conditions and get disappointed or overwhelmed, but they look at these and create opportunities for success?
Yeah, I think my comment to try to help, an LO, a broker, level in the sense, it's tough, right? Because you're the hunter, you're competing. I was with some customers yesterday, and there's still this belief that, there's like 10 people chasing every loan, and so it's tough, right? But I will say this. I think one of the most important things is details really matter. And, even though you're in sales, and sales, you have to have, the ability to close, the ability to answer questions, the ability to gain the consumer's confidence, et cetera. And sometimes that's a little bit of top of the house type thought process, but the specific details of how that loan works and what you do, critical to success, right? Because at some point, all the LOs, doesn't matter, broker, distributor, retail, doesn't matter what you do, you're going to hand that loan off to a teammate or a business partner. And so you've got to have, I think, those level of details. The other thing that I think happens, I'm a huge believer in, when you're running your own business, and fundamentally, you're, as an LO, you're kind of self-employed and running your own business, albeit it's under, an umbrella of a company, but is do not run what I call a subsidy business. Okay. And, sometimes the most efficient, best answer is to say no. Okay. I get that, and I totally respect all the LOs, they don't have a big base salary. They don't have just, income flying in. So they make money off of the close. Right. But, you got to kind of be able to adjust and think that, oh my gosh, if this one loan, just because I got to get one more loan, I got to get one more loan, but this one loan eats up 20% of my time over the next 30, 45 days, I lost money on that. Okay. Because I lost my ability to market somebody new, to go to another structure, to get, in the sense of how I divide my day, how I divide my week up in terms of the tasks and the structures and the details that I want to do. Chasing that loan that is just, a royal headache, and it's going to choke up so much of my time. And then it's a coin toss whether it can get approved at some point, or maybe I can get it non-QM at some point, possibly. I do see that across this industry, and even companies do it, right? And I'm constantly, reminding our peeps that, don't run a subsidy model, right? Run an execution model. And so those are, I think that the detail structure, the game plan, the subsidy versus, the certainty that, and look, almost so many of the LOs are so smart and they're so well trained. I know they could grade out a customer. This is a 9-10 customer. I know they're going to close. this is a 3-4 customer. I don't know, And so anyway, I just, be great, have confidence. Don't be afraid to say, I'm going to pass on that, kind of garbage deal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Another thing, like you mentioned, competition in our industry is kind of fierce. Not just LOs, lenders are also fighting for every loan. It is pretty cutthroat, like primarily a commissioned industry, and I think you made some great points. I also think not just you should be prepared to say no, but you should kind of double down on your strength. You should have some differentiation. So at PennyMac, is there something you can tell us, like how do you differentiate from competitors and other lenders?
Well, look, as I said earlier, we're kind of we're very detailed, rows and columns. Math and data really counts, and so we teach our people to understand. Okay, our customer in our TPO channel, you got to understand they're trying to make money, they're trying to feed their family, and they need and rely upon our team to do A, B, C, D, and do it perfectly 100 out of 100 times. Okay, and and we're getting really good at that. Now, reality is I'm never going to BS anybody and say we do it 100 out of 100, because nobody does, right? And then, what is your process if something accidentally fell off the rails? How do you communicate? How do you get it back on? How do you move it forward? And our team has to own our customer success. Okay, so it's pretty simple, right? When loan officers have confidence that PennyMac's going to come through, we get more loans. It's simple, right? And so that really is our goal every day. And we remind our people that our customers, they don't have big base salaries, and they don't have benefits, etc. And understand, put yourself in their position, and now understand the intensity of the market. I got 10 people chasing that loan. I got the loan. Now I send it to a lender, and I got to close it perfectly. If I close it perfectly, then I get maybe the next referral potentially from the realtor. And so there's just, and realtors are facing the same thing too, right? The referral source in theory, and on a lot of the purchases, they're fighting 10 other realtors, okay, for that. So, it would help, I think, if hopefully rates come down a little bit, and we get a little bit of refi bid in the market. Refis have less intensity. You got to close them professionally, you got to close them on time, but there isn't quite that, that intensity. And I think that would help, the whole industry. But I don't know, we get little rallies, and then the 10-year sells off, and then we get another little rally. And so you go through these little boomlets, as we've kind of called them. And but it's not consistent. So my biggest approach every day with our team is to understand what our customers going through, how we best support them, and I at times make it very personal. I said, this person is trusting our company to make their living for their family, and do not screw it up. And so we want that intensity in our platform.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think empathizing with your customers, our mutual customers, and trying to put us in their shoes to see what kind of struggles and challenges they are going through is just so vital. So thank you for those insights.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about, we talked about competition, market challenges, cutthroat industry, but then there are challenges that come from within. These could be reorganizations happening, redefining processes, handling a few toxic employees, introducing new technology or updating technologies. Sometimes these obstacles become the biggest hurdle in moving forward. So give us some examples. Like, I'm sure you did that. Have you faced some internal challenges at PennyMac? And what did you do to convert these challenges as opportunities for growth and innovation?
Well, yeah, I think, look, when whatever, in 2011, when I got here, we were fundamentally a startup. And so when you go through as a startup and you grow to a pretty good size, pretty successful company, it's never perfect, but you've got to have a culture. And I think what is, to me, one of the most interesting things, every IMB and say the banking division that does mortgage, we all do exactly the same thing. but we all do it differently because we all have our own culture. And so I'm not saying there's maybe a good culture or bad culture, but have a culture. Okay. How you motivate people. Okay. How you, I believe, also how you, I mean this in a positive way, coach people, right? And then occasionally you got to discipline, right? Because you got teammates who unfortunately, think they're a human every day and they can make a mistake every day, and no, you can't, right? So, you've got to have enough strength and courage to counsel and coach out. I have a big philosophy. I call it coach up, coach up, coach up. And if you can't coach them up after 3 coach ups, then coach them out, right? They just can't. They can't be on the team. And so, I think how you manage people. I also think one thing that's been very successful for me for a long time is that, and I tell people, if I ever quit pushing you, I think you've hit your peak. Okay. But if I think you can be better, I'm going to push you, right? My part of my responsibility is to make you as great as you can be so that you can make as much money for your family that you can. Right. And so I think, how you motivate, how you coach up, how you coach out, setting expectations of detail after detail after detail. It's worked for us, and that's kind of how we operate. And we've had a few senior people over time leave. They just had a different philosophy, and we've said, okay, that's fine. We'll part ways, but we have our core belief in how we operate, and knock on wood, it's been pretty successful for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And culture, even for our company, we are still a startup, pretty early, roughly 150 employees, but, we are trying to align all employees to the same kind of marching order, like we all think and at least behave alike, starting from our leadership team to front lines. But I want to ask you another question on culture, specifically in these challenging times. What kind of more exact, I think you gave some good examples, but what kind of leadership qualities or values you think are truly necessary if a business has to encourage and motivate their employees to kind of move forward, specifically when environments are so volatile and uncertain?
Well, I think part of it is it gets back to my earlier comment about like short term, longer term. And, I think we're pretty good about having a game plan. Okay, here's what we're going to execute. And that game plan might morph a little bit over time. But it's when you have, and I use sports analogies, I love sports, but, when you make the play, everybody's got to execute. Okay, you can't have, like in football, you have 11 players on the field, and you can't have 2 of them decide they want to run a different play. Okay, it just doesn't work. And so we're very disciplined on that, and I really don't think, it's interesting. The market, rates go up, rates go down. We had a very progressive CFPB. Now that's getting, kind of unwound a little bit. We'll see where that ends up going, et cetera. So my point is, you can have interest rates go up or down. You can have smaller markets, larger markets. You can have more regulated markets, less regulated markets. It's not that complicated. And so, again, you have to have a play call for, short term and then long term. And then you kind of motivate and teach and coach your teammates to execute, that play call. And so I think we're pretty good at that. We're getting better and better. And obviously the people who we have running things, they believe in that philosophy and have done a very good job of executing. So I don't get too stressed out and, up or down markets. And, if you understand your cost structure and you understand, how and why you make money, and you have good enough accounting, you can make adjustments. We're not believers in, let's lay off 100 people, let's hire 100 people. No, that's insanity. Every once in a while, like in 2022 and maybe early 23, the entire market had to make major corrections because of the, 4 trillion dropping to a, 1.9 trillion market. So there were some downsizing there, but otherwise, you shouldn't have to do that too often.
Absolutely. So thank you for sharing these words of wisdom. I think when we were talking earlier this morning, we talked about I'm going to ask you a fun, interesting question, and I'm going to pivot and give you the opportunity, like you wanted to ask me anything, anything fun or interesting you want to ask. Then I'll take a shot at my question. So you go ahead first.
Okay, so my question to you, you're obviously a very smart guy. You understand technology. Okay. Um, there's great stories why like dumb people like myself got into mortgage, but you had this ability to be a, a fintech, amazing guru, which you've done a great job. Why did you pick the mortgage industry?
That's a great question. Like everybody, as probably you might have, has a story how you got into mortgage, right? You don't go to school or you don't go to college and hey,
Yeah,
I want to be a loan officer. Or,
there's not the mortgage major. Yeah.
yeah, so I have I'll keep it short. A very interesting story. Like I came here to US in 2007 when markets were crashing. Wanted to do something big and great. I got my green card in 2011. I was actually doing something else. I was building a professional services company focused on my expertise and skills, which I believe I could sell more. And I tried that for a while, 5, 6, 7 years. So Arrive actually is my third company. My first two journeys became, if you will, learning experiences.
Right.
I accidentally took some classes at UC Berkeley Extension where they were on data science and machine learning, where I met a lot of mortgage underwriters who worked at a very big bank in San Francisco. I think and this whole idea about, oh my god, we still live in dark ages, tech has moved other industries so forward, we are still fighting in spreadsheets and all this back office is so manual. So that's what actually excited me, and those people are still my friends. This was like back in 2013, 14. So we actually talked about capital markets and how that is so manual. So that kind of got me going, and I actually, with a very small team, wrote something called a products and pricing engine. That was back in 2016, 2017. And then again, we tried to sell it to many, many bigger banks. And, 4 or 5 years, nothing happened. Selling software to larger companies is not a cup of tea anybody can take up. So in 2020, I got this opportunity to work on Arrive, through my relations, contacts. When you're early, you hustle your way through. So I got good at mortgages. I knew the industry pretty well. So I kind of figured out a way to get the right contacts on my own. I had kind of nothing playing in my favor, if you will. We are a small company, but managed to buy that company in 2020 with a handful of customers, and 4.5 years later, so we are 26,000 users, 4,200 customers, 21 great lenders. So and still growing. So I'm excited, where I've come along. I never wanted to do mortgage software, if you will, when I began, but here we are today. But that was a great question.
Well, now we're very thankful as an industry you're in. I will tell you, I get so many compliments about your platform and those who have met you. So we're glad, you stumbled into our industry, and you're clearly making it better and helping, hundreds and thousands of our business partners, and obviously helping PennyMac dramatically. So we very much appreciate it.
No, thank you. And I want to give compliments to my most awesome team and our amazing community and lender partners like yourself. It takes a mountain or it takes a movement to change our industry. And, if I did not have partners like PennyMac and our broker community and my awesome employees, this would not have been possible. But
Right.
now it's my turn. And
Okay.
since you brought up, play design and how should you design your plays and everybody should march together, I thought of this interesting question. A few days back, we heard this exciting news that PennyMac is going to be a proud supporter of Team USA and an exclusive mortgage banking sponsor of LA 28 Olympics and
Mhm.
Paralympics games, right? So first of
Right.
all, congratulations. It is a big deal. I can think of two questions on that topic. First, help our community understand what it means and why did you do it? And second question, which is more important, now that you are doing it, is there a chance that Arrive community can snag a few free or discounted tickets today, or maybe some insider perks? Everybody would love a little row Olympic excitement, right?
Yeah.
I promise I will not tell a soul about that.
I'll answer the first one or the second one first. It's been interesting, and it's been public for whatever 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever it's been. And yeah, if you have not been to the Olympics, oh my gosh, we got to figure out, and we don't have like unlimited access to everything, but we've got a lot of access, and so I think that there is nothing more special than being at an event when the U.S. wins a medal. And, to be able to have your brand, and of course, I'm proudly wearing my shirt here today, but, to put your brand with the American flag and the Olympics and the Paralympic, rings is just as special. And we sort of looked at it in the sense that, the Olympians that work their tail off for 4 years to have, 1 week in the sun or what, and some have really lucrative NIL deals, but most do not. Most don't go play in the NFL or the NBA or the WNBA or Major League Baseball, make millions and trillions kind of a thing. And so they're like our customers, they're like our homeowners, right? They have a dream. And, so when, I think our broker base totally gets this, right? The customer buying a home or refining a home for their family and their kids. And, we, like all do, I hope, all kind of customer direct calls have to be recorded for compliance reasons. And oh my gosh, you go back and listen to some of these and it's like they just make you cry because it's so emotional and so personal to them and their family. Excuse me. And so, we sort of said, here's this connection of our customers who get a Fannie, Freddie, Jenny mortgage, and then the Olympic and especially the Paralympic movement. I believe it's about 25-30% of the Paralympic Olympians are veterans. And so we see a huge connect there. So yeah, we're super excited to be part of the movement. Obviously having it in LA where we're headquartered, just made it very, very natural. So, we'll over the next 4 years, obviously have a lot of branding and marketing and events around the Olympics and the Winter Games in terms of 28. Now, we're not taking thousands to Milan, but there are things that will be happening, say in Park City and Wichita, and the qualifying events that we'll be involved with. So, it was just something that it felt kind of emotionally and personally right. And obviously, we think it'll be good for the brand. It'll be good for our consumer direct customers in the sense of our support. It'll be good for our broker network and then our correspondent network. So we're very excited. And yes, the ticket demand is through the roof 2 days in.
But yeah, so thank you again, Doug, for your time. This has been an awesome conversation. We greatly appreciate what PennyMac does for the broker community, for consumers, and we'll continue to help and support each other. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me on, and we so appreciate all of our broker partners and the LOs and the owners of the brokerage houses and their firms, and then leaders like yourself who are so important in the journey of success of the TPO channel. So glad to be a great partner of yours, and we look forward to a very exciting and growing future.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.